Hi, everybody. Wow. Good to be back together again here. Brain training with Auntie Mimi. We have covered a lot. I am so proud of you for continuing on this path, and I pray that you will get where you want to get to. We've been talking about being like the moon, humbling ourselves, working on belittling ourselves by getting rid of all our negative character traits and making room for really what's deep inside us, so pure and so holy. We've been trying to be burning our rock-like heart and trying to get the layers and layers out of our heart that's trapping us, blocking us. We learned even the lesson of Abraham, where he was told, Lech Lecha. And that was like, you can leave behind everything. Like, go to the Lech Lecha, to the true you, which is fascinating that if you're going to tell someone to go somewhere, why focus so much on what you're leaving behind? And remember, we were learning how the 3 places that Avram was told to leave behind is really what we're leaving behind today. Our birthplace, our genetic maybe predisposition toward fire, water, air, earth, elements within us. We might be predisposed to anger or to sadness or to anxiety or to pleasure seeking or, very talkative behaviors. And that's maybe in our code of our soul, but that we can leave that behind and channel those for the positive. Leave your parents' home. I mean, when Avram was told to leave his idol worshiping ways of his family, was basically teaching everyone, even if you had traumas growing up, even though you didn't have the best childhood, even though you weren't nurtured, you weren't loved like you thought you should have been, or maybe it was just, so much crisis in the world that they were barely managing financially to cover all the financial needs of the home, that still you can leave that trauma behind and you can get to the real you. And he left his land representing like larutz, is to run, like habits that you may have acquired because of trying to cope with your life. And so we're really taught we can leave all that behind and go to the real you. So today we're going to talk about how to be not the rock that we're trying to like burn up and like bring passion and bring life to that rock. We're going to get to the rock, the real rock, the rock of you, the rock of Hashem in you, that solid, committed, determined, lech lecha personality to go to the true you, but yet be like water to be able to go with the flow of Hashem's plan in the world. Because what's going on right now, I'm telling you, it's not easy, and people are very concerned and very aware that there's so much unawares, there's so much unknowns, there's so much questions that can really cause us to worry and panic and not be settled and not be able to be happy. So how can we get now, today, with this class, some of the tips we're going to share, some of the brain training techniques that we're going to focus on, is to get to that place of being solid, strong, like a rock, but fluid, like water, like to be able to really go with the flow of God's design of what's happening in our life right now. So this is a combination of some of the things I've been hearing lately. I was on Rabbi Levin's class, and he was talking about a champion chess player that was giving his tactics of how to win his game. and why he's so successful. So he said, if you look at the four pieces and, in these four positions of this one piece, that you'll be able to really win the game. So, and so when I was listening to this, I was thinking like four positions, like to win the day, or four positions to really, play the game of your life right, so that, you don't let life win over you. Meaning you don't let life bury you or make you sad or make you anxious or make you worry, so that it doesn't steal your joy in living. I mentioned this many, many times before, but I'm just going to do it in really quick here. 1, prayer. 2, prayer with meditation as always, and with your words. So, 1 second, I see there's a lot of background noise here, and I did mention, hold on 1 second. I don't know how to pause this. So I'm going to put 1 second. Let me pause this. Okay, here we are. Oh my gosh. After this class, okay, we're going to get to that solid like a rock. Are you still there? Anyone still there? Okay, so these are the four things. So we have to pray, okay, with speaking the words. We have to meditate. We have to learn Torah. And we have to say the words, and we have to meditate while learning Torah. And we have to do the mitzvos. And then the fourth thing is not to indulge. So those are the four things. And we're going to cover these things as we're going through all these classes. Now, let me at least explain to you some of the processes that are happening between your brain and your heart, that these four things will help that happen. I really am hoping that everyone's there. Can someone say that you're here, because we got disconnected? I hope, because I was knocking on the door and they couldn't hear me. Okay, I think someone is mentioning that they were listening. Maybe not. Okay, because if I'm going to wait for a second, anyone can just say hi that you can hear me. It looks like it's still continuing, so I'm going to assume that it is. All right. So this is what happens. Our job is to seize the power of our mind. Our job is to maximize and and fill up our minds as much as possible, so that our brain is not empty. Because science shows if we're not filling our mind fully with good stuff, with positivity, then naturally it goes toward the negative. Naturally it just goes to the past and thinks negative things and thinks and ruminates and thinks and thinks and thinks and thinks. And then because you're thinking such negativity, you feel negative. And because you feel negative, you act negatively. So that's the first step. So praying fills your mind up with godly understandings of all the blessings that you have and all what you to be grateful for. And especially if you're doing it in a deep way, in a contemplative way. So, but for us, it doesn't stop there, because honestly, your mind can limit you to some extent. As much as you'll fill up your mind with amazing information, godly information, positive information, if you just stop there, then you don't get to fix your heart. And that's where the base negative character traits are that we need to fix. As we always say, anger and sadness, and I don't want to go spending too much time. We all know those feelings, God forbid, no more, right? So what's in our head needs to get to our heart. And that is when we meditate on God's greatness. Whether it's in prayer, whether it's before prayer, in prayer, right after prayer. The whole point is to get to that heart. But we first have to get to our mind. We can't get to our heart without the direction of the mind. So once we get to our heart and we start getting rid of the layers that is blocking our heart with all this negative stuff, then we get to the core soul power of our heart. Then we get to the pnimiyut of alev, to the inner essence of our heart. Because thought can only take us so far. In fact, there's a teaching, no thought can grasp God's essence. Only the inner essence of our heart can grasp God's essence. Meaning that we can tap into the godly power of our soul that's within us. God's essence is within us, within our heart. Our mind will be able to connect to godly concepts. Our mind will be able to think godly concepts. But to grasp, to tap into, to reveal the godly essence within us, we need to get to the pnimiyut of alev. So definitely meditating on God's greatness starts the process from getting from our head to our heart. Once this knowledge gets into our heart, so we have a knowing heart, our heart understands these concepts, meaning our animal soul begins to think through these things, where it resides mainly in our heart. Then it basically gets converted to an ally. Then it's through logic and reasoning, you convince your heart, meaning your animal soul, this is the right way, this is what's going to be good for you, this is what's meaningful in life. Then your heart controls your mind, because the mind can only go so far. The mind can limit you. The mind can trick you. So how do you access the deepest part of your heart? By this process. Another key component to getting to the inner essence of your heart, again, through the mind, is understanding how God is everywhere, how God is everything, how God and all the world is one, how everything that's happening in the world is from Hashem. I mean, you could say a simple sentence, Gam Zu Latova, this is all for the good. Why? Because God is doing it. And if God is doing it, it's good. So when you train your brain to connect to everything is one, everything is from Hashem, and the pasuk that the Baal Shem Tov teaches us about this is Shiviti Hashem lenegdi tami, which means I place God before me always. No matter what happens to me, no matter what I see, what I hear, what I experience, what I'm thinking about, what's going to be in the future, it's all Hashem. Because Shiviti is to put God in front of you always. But Shiviti also means Shaveh, which means equal. Everything is equally good. A child might say to me, but my parents are fighting, or my teacher is so mean to me, or my sister or my brother bully me, or all these different things. This one is sick, and this one's in the hospital, and now someone lost their job because of what's going on. But we have to say to ourselves, if this is happening, this is for the good. This is good. This is from Hashem. And this is the key to tap into your heart's power of grasping godliness, of grasping the true essence of who you are. It's in order to get to the true you have to kind of run away from your mind a bit after you get to your mind. Because your mind can limit you. Do you get this? You have to maximize filling up your mind with these godly concepts, with true faith in God. Then this wisdom starts to flow into your heart, because there's like, it's so filled, it starts to, as the Rebbe Rashab teaches us, that it so fills your mind, which he brings from Tanya, then it goes to your heart. Because it's like, like if you have like, do you remember those Kiddush cups where you fill, and then it goes spilling over into the small little Kiddush cups? So your mind is so filled, so it starts to like overflow to the other organs, your heart. And then it banishes all the darkness, all the negative character traits, and then you got the gem. Then you got the true essence of your being that's lodged in your heart, freed. So we said there was many things you could do. Remember, there's tshuva, and it breaks away from the hardening of your heart. But one major way to really constantly train your brain to connect to God's oneness, that everything is in the hands of Hashem, and that everything that's happening is directed by Him for a good reason, that's the way to get to the inner essence of your heart. And when your inner essence of your heart is revealed, it can now master your mind. Because most people think like, I want to have self-mastery. I want to like control my thoughts. I want to control. That's the first step. But the next step is that your inner essence of your heart, where your animal soul is, it gets converted to an ally. Then its powerhouse, like elements now get to override your limited intellect that can get in your way of not reaching the new heights that you're capable of reaching, not reaching that next level of happiness. So once this happens, then you are solid. You are hard as a rock. Like, in Pirkei Avot, when the roots are really strong and they're like thick and they're like coarse and and then no matter what wind blows, that tree will not topple over, right? But if you have like a tree that just recently planted and it didn't have time to really dig its roots, and it's like these really scrawny, skinny roots, and it's just barely, not even a trunk, the size of like two fingers together, and the wind blows and it just like done. The tree is done. It's like topples over. So we want to get to this really hard place of like a rock. God's rock. God is our rock. He will give us this strength. He will give us this, martial arts of the mind, brain training, tactics to then capture our heart. And when our heart is on fire, it is our strength. It is our koach, our power not to let what's going on around us topple us over. And then we become like water. Because whatever's happening around us, we like go with the flow. Like water is fluid. Like put water in, let's say, a very tall, skinny glass. Okay? You'll see the water go up and it takes the form of the glass, right? It's fluid. You pour the water into a flat, like, maybe one of those tea lights glasses that you might have for Shabbos. You pour it in, takes the shape of that, right? So when your heart is on fire like this and is as strong as a rock in this way, then it can be able to go with the flow of what's happening in the world and what's happening in your life and not be broken by it. And not lose yourself from it, because you realize this is from Hashem. This is what's meant to be. nothing is haphazard in life. Nothing is random. Nothing is like not directed and not planned for a specific genius, beyond genius reasoning that we just can't understand. That's why we have to get away from our head. And we have to live our life really from the deep essence of our heart. That's where our faith is. That's where our emunah is. That's where is our lodged, our bitachon, our trust. That's where all, our powerhouse abilities reside. So first it's moach sholet al halev. The first step is we're trying to harness the power of our mind to control the negative, hardened heart. And then once we peel away, like we had in the last class, and get to the deep essence of our heart, then we get to the power of our true selves, the part of godliness that's inside of us, the part of partnership of this godly power of our animal soul that is higher than our godly soul. That's why we're here to really access this power. And then we get to the pnimiyut halev, the inner essence of our godly heart, that now we did this bris milah. We got rid of the layers, and now it's the bris of the heart. Then we have access to this power. Once this power is more and more revealed, then the pnimiyut halev, the inner essence of our hearts, then has the power to override our limited thought processes, our limited intellectual wherewithal, our limited mindsets, whatever you want to call them. Because our mindsets can limit us. Kind of like an annoying roommate. Like just trying to control and hijack your mind into all kinds of thinking that's not based on reality, not based on truth, and just trying to steal you away from the true you. I know this is a lot, and I know you're young, but now you know, and it's good to know. It's good to know when you're young that the things that you do, that the things that Hashem command you to do, to pray, to learn, to hisbonen, to think of Hashem in this great way, and to fixate your mind, yomam v'layla, on these treasure, godly wisdom. This helps you understand that there's only one God. This helps you understand that everything is from Hashem and that everything is directed and good. And then this helps you get to the inner essence of your true self. If Abraham was commanded, Lech Lecha, and he was able to leave all the things of his past behind, then I hope today's class will help you understand what you need to do to leave everything behind and go to the true you. Because a lot of teachings today in the world is like, oh, you're a victim, you didn't get the nurture, oh, so it's going to be difficult. And I'm not saying it's not difficult. But if you start to really believe on what's out there, you might really start believing it. And then it's like forever, you could be 50 and 60, God forbid, and still trying to overcome what happened to you. And I remember learning a Sikha of the Rebbe, you can choose the way you want to live your life. You want to go the natural order of things, and you want to believe in these limiting natural order of the world, whatever the world is dictating, or you can go above nature. It's your choice. And you can believe in the truth to get you out of the loophole of what has been out there in the world that can be very confusing. And it's a shame because Hashem teaches us, Lech Lecha, You don't have to be a prisoner of your past. You don't even have to be a prisoner of your genetic predisposition towards certain character traits. You don't even have to be a prisoner to your habits that you've gotten the habit of trying to escape the pain. You can take this higher route. You could take the above the nature route and get to the real you, because God implanted in you a part of him. Imagine like that. It's like it's beyond miraculous when you take this route. It's beyond understanding how these things, voila, redeem you and free you. I mean, it's clearly stated in Tanya that everyone has like a portion of even Moshe Rabbeinu in us. Everyone has a portion of Mashiach in themselves. Like, this is how you're a powerhouse. We just gotta go through a journey. It doesn't have like to make you feel pressured, because nobody's expecting you to reveal your heart in an instant. Yes, it does say in the Gemara, like, it should, back in the days, it could take 120 years, but not now. Not now. The Rebbe actually taught, okay? He said, the Rebbe, that just like everything in the world is so quick, like, back in the days they had to take a buggy and a horsey with a buggy, and to get to one town to another was like, and until they brought the like little paper, like, to the next town, because they had a carrier to bring the news or the letter that you wrote to someone. And then, then came the mailbox eventually, and you just put it in the mailbox, woo, and it goes all the way to Israel. And then it became, I don't even need that anymore. It's like, send a fax, right? And then it became instant email, texting, WhatsApping. So the way the technology has shown that things are speeding up, the Rebbe said what used to take how many years to transform, now that we have a privilege to get this information, and even the non-Jews are sharing this information in their own way. I mean, because all of Torah knowledge seeps to the world, and they're grasping these ideas and sharing it too. So the way things are immediate and like so quick, like with what we're seeing in technology, like that you can see me like in an instant. Like, I don't have to travel 17 hours or 24 hours to South Africa or Australia or 11 hours to Israel. I get to see you, maybe you in Israel in an instant. So because we're seeing how all this technology is like that shows that we're in an era where transformation is also way more like efficient, way more possible to reach new heights in like a shorter duration. And trust me, as a counselor, okay, I've seen like maybe 33 years ago how it took X amount of time for a person to change, and now like sometimes in a month. I can't even tell you one case I even had this past month with a pandemic. And I don't want to go too much into detail, but basically, like in 1 month, like the woman can't even understand how her husband changed so drastically in 1 month. He was like on the edge because of all of what was happening in the world. He was getting worried. He wasn't sleeping. He wasn't eating. He was doing all kinds of things to try to like save his family of the unknown, what's going to be. And so then his mind started deteriorating. And in a blink of an eye, and there was many cases like this, not just one. And just helping them to start praying again more meditatively, start learning again right after prayer, and start really thinking these thoughts. The transformation happened in like not even a month. And this was something that used to take a year or two and even more. to like really help. So it's just like every year I see how it's quicker and quicker for people to like get out of their challenges. Now, okay, children don't have a fully developed brain. So we're waiting, and that's God's plan. We have to be at peace with that. We have to understand that, we can't be a scientist. If we're just learning basic math, we're not going to get to that, PhD level of science or math or whatever it is. So it's a little harder, but it's not as hard. Trust me. I would come out of the class where I was teaching these classes, and when the parents came to pick up the children, and they were learning these kinds of things, and they said, you have to do this for the older children. And these children were like, I don't know, 6, 7, 8. And the parents were seeing how much they were changing and wanted this for the older children. And that's what happened to me when I did my programs in Israel. The girls I only had girls programs, and then the girls' parents were saying, you need to do this for the boys. And the boys were knocking on my doors, I'll remember, because it was changing their brothers and their sisters, and they wanted it also. I mean, I made it fun, so they would want it also. We did drama, we did art, we did, all kinds of things to make it exciting, because this is what helps, when you're happy and you're stimulated, then you're more open to like absorb information. If you're forced and you don't like it and you don't realize how good it is for you, then you're blocking yourself, and you're just like nothing's gonna like really get inwardly in you. So this works even for children. I remember even a 5-year-old having night terrors, and like in such a short period of time, they couldn't believe it. There was another girl who had she was so scared of thunder and lightning and these types of techniques, and these children were going for a year or more doing other types of things, and nothing was helping. And in such a short period of time. So use your brain to your max. Take seriously, your spiritual practices, meaning your prayers and your learning, and don't do it robotically. First start. Try to say the words. Try to connect to what you're saying. Try to connect why you're saying it. And the more deeply you get involved in it, realize that you want a super brain by doing this. Tanya teaches us the time of davening is moichin de gadlus. What does that mean? That it's a time to make your brain great. To be gadlut is like to grow and grow. So it gets stronger. And then we want to capture the heart. And that happens once the brain becomes so full, as we said earlier, that it starts to spill over on the right part of our heart. And the right part of our heart is where our love of God is, where our wonder in God is, where our kindness, where all our positive emotions, and it starts to grow. And then it's so filled over, because then there's the left part of our heart, and that's where the animal soul is. That's where the darkness is. That is where the blood actually is, but the life force of the animal soul. And then it starts to spill over to the left part of the heart, to start vanishing the darkness, melting away the hardened heart. And then you get to like the blossoming of these amazing godly energies that are like buried there and waiting to like be free. And that's the real you. That's the amazing you that we're trying to more and more bring out to the open. So we say a prayer every day, Ve'adama titen yevula. It's on the third paragraph of, was it the second or the third? Well, the paragraph in Shema. And Adama is likened to Adam. Adama, Aleph, Dalet, Mem, and Adam, meaning Adam was like Adameh le'elyon, which is like the closest likeness to God. And what we're trying to do, all of us, is to tap into that essence of our being that's godlike, that we could be similar to God in that way, and be free to be kind, and be free to be patient, and be free to be loving, warm and sweet, and everything on top with a cherry, if you like cherries. But so the whole idea is that just like the field, you plant the seeds and you're waiting for the blossoms, right? So we want to, like that message in that prayer is to say, you have a field. Put the seeds of Torah and mitzvahs in your field, where your mind and heart is, and you will give birth, meaning you will like sprout, just like, you put the seeds in and then it blossoms into a beautiful flower. Then you will be able to bear fruit, and the meaning to give birth, because you're giving birth to a flower. You're giving birth to apples and oranges and all these vegetation, right? It's like something's coming and being created. So the seeds actually get planted, right? So the seeds of God's wisdom is planted in our mind so that we can give birth to the godly self, to the real you. So we have to understand. Let's apply this now. What does it mean to be hard as a rock in a good way? Not stone-hearted, or not stone, walled, where we're not feeling, and we're not like, we just feel numb, and we feel like a robot, and we're doing all Torah mitzvahs and we don't feel it. This is the opposite of the stone that's the negative stone. This is a positive. This is like hard as a rock. God is our rock, that nothing bends us. Nothing, will break us. Nothing in the world. It's all from Hashem. It's all good. That kind of fortitude, that kind of strength, that kind of rock-like mentality. Like you have to almost say to whoever, like in your mind, no matter what you do, you're not burying me. No matter what I experience, I'm not going to be broken. God is my rock. Interesting. I was at a stage in my life, and it doesn't have to do with you because you're not, you're still young, but I remember the Rebbe saying in this video, like, people wanted him to retire, and he said, people are saying that you're, reaching an age for your retirement. He would say, one mustn't look at your passport to see how you feel. In fact, you can get stronger and healthier as you age. If God is your rock, meaning if you connect to Hashem and His strength and His rock-like, powers, then you can defy nature. You can go against nature. You can feel healthier, stronger. And I can attest to that. As I got closer and closer to Hashem, as I got closer and closer to the deepest teachings of the Torah, and I tried my best to make God my rock, like, I feel younger than even I did 20 years ago. Like, I remember going to Israel. It was almost 8 years that I hadn't seen people in Israel for many different reasons, and I got delayed and so many different issues that I couldn't go. And I remember when I was finally there, and they hadn't seen me almost like 10 years. And it's like as if time didn't pass. And they were like shocked, like we hadn't seen you 10 years and you actually are seemingly more vibrant than even you look like as if 10 years younger than when you were here 10 years ago. Because that's what this connection to Hashem does. It gives you strength. It changes your blood, because you become happier. You become more alive from just even the physical part of the blood, that gets changed from your fortitude and from the strength of your mind. So let's make God our rock. Let's try to fortify ourselves that no matter what's happening, especially right now, this is leading to something grand, not just something great. It's going to lead to something that even if we can't see with our own eyes that it's leading there, God forbid, God forbid. But I was just having a conversation with somebody, and everyone's like, dooms, 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 dooms. And I'm like, first of all, the Rebbe actually said America was chesed de malchus, like it reached such a transformation that no other country has. The Rebbe said that. Okay, so part of these people were not Jewish and part of the people were Jewish, but I was just going to try to give them some chizuk, that I was saying, like, the Rebbe said that America, like, reached that level of refinement. I mean, in God we trust. That's like the whole American thing. Yes, it's been up and down, and what's been a lot of, like, stuff that's going on here. I'm not blind completely, God forbid, of what's going on, but look at what so much good that has happened in just recent, like, and yes, there was a lot of things going on, but it could have been way worse. It was mostly on physical stuff. Whatever the fighting and the riots and everything that was going on. Yes, there were some, God forbid, I know, there was loss of life and everything. But if you think about the overall difference between certain riots that happened years ago, it was mostly on the stuff, on getting stuff. Those who took the protests to a whole new level, and it wasn't even connected to what they were protesting about. It was just like taking over just to have whatever they were taking over. The stuff. So yes, it hasn't been pleasant. Yes, it's been uneasy. Yes, it's been uncomfortable, and we don't know what's going to be. But what we can know is that today we can make sure they don't take our stuff in our head. That meaning they don't steal our peace of mind, whatever's going on in the world. We don't let what's going on in the world steal our emunah and our bitachon, and we become hard like a rock. And what will be, will be. And what will be may not be what we're all thinking it might be. Well, not me. I'm thinking positive. And so then you waste all the energy thinking of and where you could have been, like, thinking of the positive and thinking, and that could even affect the world for the positive. If we have hope in humanity, and we have hope that this is going to lead to something great, our collective consciousness thinking of all that's going to be good in the world, and this is for you adults as well. I mean, look at the children of Mordechai. They saved the day because they kept their minds positive into the books of the Holy Torah instead of forecasting of the unknown. What is going to be? Haman's going to take over, and Achashverosh is going to be like, what? But it didn't happen because they knew how to fortify their mind. They knew how to stick their nose into their business of the Torah. And that's what changed reality, and that's what got them the merit to be saved, and that's what directed the world to go in a direction of geula for the Jewish people. And right now we need to help the whole world. So if everyone around you is talking about the negative, you, my dear child, stand up and say, let's have hope, let's have emunah. Be like Miriam, who stood up. And she spoke her mind to give chizuk and to try to, to switch the conversation to something more positive. And if you're an adult and you're speaking all this kind of stuff in front of your children, be aware. That could be very, very traumatizing for children to constantly hear of you forecasting what's happening in the world. That's not the truth, because we just don't know yet. Okay, I'm not trying to preach. I'm just trying to be, helpful, to be more aware of how we can be solid like a rock, strong like a rock, and so that we can go and flow like the waters, soft, moving its way, making its impression, and not letting the world around us make an impression on us. All right, so we'll go to the next part of this journey, and that is the art project, brain training through the arts. Thank you. Thank you so much. Words coming from my heart, always trying to hopefully enter your hearts. And so, wow, what better picture? A rock. Woo! Very strong rock, okay? And a rock next to water. So it kind of, you can make a picture of this like really strong rock. Or maybe a rock in the shape of a bit of a heart, because you want your heart to be strong like a rock. And then maybe like a river flowing from the heart. That's another idea. Just a heart with like water flowing. I've seen those kind of pictures around. Because the idea is that you can be like so strong, but not so unbendable, not so rigid, not so dogmatic, not so preachy in a way that like people can't stand hearing you anymore. Soft, beautiful words, sharing, coming from your heart. Go with the flow. It's not going your way. It's okay. Even though it's not 100% what you wanted to do and everyone else wanted to do something else, and you went with the flow. So maybe make a picture, everyone, all your family is heading in one direction. You're like kind of didn't want to do it, but now you're going, and then you see like a river next to you and you're catching up with them finally. Because you're like saying, it's okay, let me be stern and hard like a rock where it counts. Not on silly things, not on if I want it my way to go to this trip or I want to go to that. I don't want to go here first, I want to go second. This is my chair, not my chair. Like, not like use it in a bad way. Not be so stone-hearted or rigid in what you want. Use your stone heart for the good, like for what counts, meaning to not break from other people's behaviors toward you, to not let the unknown, squash your hope. To use it where it's needed to bring peace, to have unity, to have love. So those are different pictures. Anyone have an idea here? Please post. Maybe even share your picture when you're done with it. And you can continue it later. So, I don't know, one more picture came to mind. Rabbi Akiva, the water like that penetrated the stone-like heart. But now it's like all of a sudden, like you have like one heart. And then you have inside the heart. So like the outer core, the stone-like outer core, like it's breaking off of this heart. But then the stone-like good heart is like there. And you see the picture, like the outer negative, and you can write anger and sadness, and it's all cracking into pieces and melting away, as it were, or cracking into pieces. But then the solid heart is there. And that solid heart is emuna and bitachon. You can have all the words of your solid heart. Your faith, your trust, your strength, your unwavering faith that everything is happening is good and directed by Hashem, whatever way you want to do it. But it's just kind of, I want to do it. I have to do it every day after. Okay. All right. So then we can go into the meditation. So the meditation is, why not? Let's go to a place and redeem our rock solid heart. And And in this place is just going to definitely just be a gorgeous stream of water. So we can close our eyes and we can have a really deep breath. And with every breath we take, we feel this amazing wave of relaxation. Time to have some time to ourselves, to really deeply connect to the truth of who we really are. And maybe like see a vision, like you're lech lecha, you're leaving behind, and like you turn back as you're like, what are you leaving behind in this vision? Leave behind whatever is the negative. Leave behind whatever traumas or experiences you may have had. Leave behind even your birth-like tendencies. It has no hold on you. You have the power to leave it behind. And you're leaving behind your habits. It's just like, free. Walking strongly, like toward your destination of the real you. That could be a picture too. And in this mind movie, you're walking toward your promised land, the real you, in this beautiful place. All the colors. You should almost like smell the place. Especially these days where we're longing to be in these magnificent places. So you see yourself and you're walking toward that place, step by step, each step making you feel stronger, more fortified, more hopeful. And in this place, as you see the doorway, there's a sign and it says, only positivity allowed. And so whatever lingering negative energies, stress or doubts or the fear of the unknown, like not allowed, like no. You're just like going into this place and everything is just not allowed. Only positivity here. And so you go to this place. It's like a paradise. And there you see a beautiful stream of water and you see stunning, gorgeous rocks, like different colors, different auras, different energies, different stones with different colors. Just like I could just see it. Magnificent, colorful rocks. The natural ones, the quartz, the gems of all kinds of different colors. And these rocks are beautiful. And you like really connect to its strength. And you're seeing the waters flowing, like, you know, like the way the rocks are in the mountains, in the lakes, and there's just like these rocks and there's this water flowing. And you really connect to what we learned here today. How do I get to this rock-like solid strength? I really have to believe and understand that I have to get out of my mind. I have to get in my mind to then get out of my mind. And I have to get to my heart so that my heart can lead the way, so I can flow with all the beauty about me. Will be free to be. And you see yourself thinking about how you start your day, how much time you can more deeply connect to the spiritual practices that maybe you've been forced to do in school or at home. But now you're not gonna feel forced. You're gonna feel connected to it. You're gonna feel like, wow, I need to give this a chance. I need to try this out. I'm curious and I'm willing to try now, because now I understand why I'm doing it, why it's so important. And you're thinking and you're connecting to the solid, strong rock of your heart. And all of a sudden, all the rocks around you turn into hearts. It's like beautiful now, different colors of these rocks are turning into hearts. And then the waters keep flowing, because when your heart is strong like a rock, you're able to go with the flow like water. You're able to manage and handle whatever's happening around you. You're okay. You're not broken from what you hear. You're not hurt as easily by the people around you. You become so strong in this image, stronger and stronger. And maybe some people are starting to come towards your paradise, and you're ready to leave, and you start leaving, and usually the way they behave has not been so easy for you, but you're not changing here. You're handling it. When you see them, you interact pleasantly. It doesn't jolt you. It doesn't throw you off. You're handling whoever's around you that may sometimes not be so easy to handle. And you're actually feeling really strong like a rock. And you feel your heart flowing, being the kind and considerate and patient and loving and warm you. And it's kind of affecting them. They're looking up to you. They're kind of surprised and taken aback a bit. And they are starting to change because of you. So you're walking with pride. You're walking with gratefulness that you've been able to be this rock-like, strong you. But always willing to go with the flow of God's plan. Never letting it break you. Never letting it jolt you. Never letting it steal away your inner peace and happiness. Then take a moment and say a prayer. Hashem, you are my rock. You lead me the way. Please, Hashem, let this vision, what I learned here today really stay with me. Help me be rock hard like you. Help me be the example of being fluid, easygoing, going with your flow. Help me have the emunah and bitachon to be strong, fortified, and handle everything that's going on in my life in this most beautiful way. And when you're ready, you keep walking strong. You feel your feet. It's going to really help you go forward in life. Your heart calmly beating. You're going to be patient with the process. It's going to, day by day, you'll get stronger. Day by day, you're going to feel your heart get stronger. And then, when you open your eyes, you really see the light. And you say, thank you, Hashem. Thank you, Hashem. All right, my dear children, thank you for joining. And I'll see if there's any questions here. Baruch Hashem. Oh, wow, it's really good to see everyone coming back. I'm so happy. Hi, everyone. Baruch Hashem. So as I always say, keep shining by smiling. Now more than ever, because you rock. Bye-bye.